Hey guys, so I wanted to just take a couple minutes to go through the Chapter 13 mini review. This will give you a very quick overview of Chapter 13, but by no means is this all of it. It just is a quick overview. So there's only 6 questions, so we're going to do one of each. That way, if you go into Hawks and you click on Web Test Chapter 13 mini review, you'll have one in the same order with different numbers that you can go through. Before we get started on that, I do want to direct your attention to the Chapter 13 in-class review notes. You'll see those on D2L under Content and then Chapter 13 blank notes. This just has a really nice review of all of the things that we have covered kind of up until now. So I've got the factoring flow chart, the perfect squares and perfect cubes chart, and then just our sign chart that we were setting up when we were factoring in Chapter 13.2 and 13.3. As for the answers to this in-class review, that will be posted separately on D2L. That way you can go through and check those as well to just give you more practice with factoring. So in this video, the first one says completely factor the expression by grouping if possible. And so what we're going to do to factor by grouping, they told us, but our clue would be that there are 4 terms. And so what I need to do first is group up the first 2 and group up the second 2. Okay, from there, my next step is going to be find the GCF of the first 2 terms, the first group. So I have BS and BV. Those have a B in common. I'm going to divide that out because I'm undoing the distributive property. BS, divide out the B is going to leave me with S. BV, divide out the B is going to leave me with plus V. I'm going to carry down that sign. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the second parenthesis. SZ plus VZ. They have a Z in common. And then when I take out that Z, I'm left with S plus V. Now that I have done that part, it will be factored by grouping if these parentheses match. And so I'm going to write down my repeat, which is going to be S plus V, and then write down my leftover, which is going to be B plus Z. And that would be what I would type in the blank. And so I'll have S plus V in the blank times B plus Z. Now, the order does not matter of these parentheses, but what matters is what's inside those. And so that would be your final answer right here. All right, our next example, number 2, x squared minus 12x plus 32. Now, these directions say completely factor the trinomial if possible. Okay, so I've got a 3 term. I'm going to go to my A, B, and C. This is my rainbow method. So 3 terms, and this is all on your factoring flow chart, is going to be rainbow. Or slide and divide, but we did rainbow in class. So I've got A equals 1, B equals negative 12, and C equals 32. So I'm going to set up my X. A times C goes on top, B on the bottom. Well, A times C, 1 times 32 is going to give me 32, and then B on the bottom, negative 12. I'm now going to list off all my factors of 32. So I'm going to start with 32 and 1. And then I'm going to go to 2 and 16. And then 4 and 8. There's no 5. And then no 6. And then I'm back to repeat 8 and 4, 16 and 2. Okay, now I'm looking for which 2 of these could get me to a negative 12. So let's think about my sign chart. I've got a positive number on top, negative number on bottom, and so I'm going to have 2 negative factors. And then the two of those that would get me to 12 is going to be -4 and -8. Before you move on, check. -4 times -8 is +32. -4 plus -8 is -12. And so I know that my factors are good. I didn't make a mistake in there. Now there were two options. Because A is equal to 1, you could go to the shortcut, and we'll talk about that at the end. But just for sake of the video, I'm going to go through the long way, which said I'm going to take B out and replace it with my two factors that I found. And so I took out -12 and I replaced it with -4x minus 8x, because that is the same thing. Now I go to factor by grouping. So I'm going to group up these first two. They have an x in common, and I'm left with x minus 4. Carry down my sign. 8 and 32 have an 8 in common. -8x divide by -8 is going to give me x. 32 divide by -8 is going to give me -4. I'm going to write down what's being repeated and the leftovers. Now the shortcut works because A is equal to 1. So because A is equal to 1, I can use this shortcut, which said you can go straight from here, -4, -8, to x minus 4, x minus 8. I don't care which way you do it. Certainly the shortcut is shorter, but they both get you at the same correct answer. If you're going to use the shortcut, though, be cautious that you can only use the shortcut when A is equal to 1. If A is any other number, you have to go the long way. You cannot use the shortcut. And so I would type in my answer, x minus 4, x minus 8. Okay? Number 3. So number 3 talks about show your work at the bottom. Just disregard that. Number 3 has 3x squared minus 10x minus 8. And it says to completely factor the trinomial if possible. Okay? So I'm going back to A, B, and C because it's got 3 terms. And so the first thing I'm going to do is write down A, B, and C. A equals 3, B equals -10, and C equals -8. They don't have a GCF in common, so I can't factor anything out. I can just go straight to A, B, and C. All right, I'm going to fill in my trinomial, my x, and I've got A times C on top. 3 times -8 is going to give me -24. And then B on the bottom, -10. Okay, going back to that sign chart that was at the very beginning of the video. If the top is negative, I don't care what the bottom is, but if the top is negative, I'm going to have 1 negative and 1 positive sign, which means I'm going to be subtracting to get to -10. So let's list off our factors of 24. We've got 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6, no 5, and then they repeat. All right, so I'm looking for the 2 that will get me to 10, and I've got 2 and 12. Now the catch with these is the bigger number, the bigger factor, has to match the sign of B. So B is negative, so the bigger number has to be negative. So I'm going to have -12, +2. Just like I said in the last one, make sure you check before you move on. -12 times 2 is -24, and -12 plus 2 is -10. Now, I cannot use the shortcut because A is 3. If A was 1, I could use the shortcut. I could go straight to my answers. But because A is not 1, I cannot use the shortcut. And so what I have to do, I have to replace that B term, negative 10, with negative 12x and positive 2x. Carry everything else down, and now I'm going to my factor by grouping. The order in which you put those two numbers in the middle doesn't matter. You could do positive 2x, negative 12x. You would still get the same answer, but your factoring would look slightly different. All right, I'm going to group up the first two. 3x squared minus 12x. Those have a 3x in common. 3x squared, divide out 3x is going to give me x. Negative 12, divide out the 3 is going to give me negative 4. And then x, divide out the x is gone. And so I've got x minus 4 in the parentheses. I'm going to do my second set of parentheses. Carry down that sign. 2x and 8 have a 2 in common. 2x divided by the 2 is going to give me x. Negative 8 divided by 2 is going to give me negative 4. I'm then going to write down the repeat. X minus 4 and the leftovers. 3x plus 2. I didn't mention it to now, but remember you can check all of these. You can check by multiplying, either with FOIL, first, outer, inner, last, or with box method, and you can check all of these and know if you got the right answer or not. Okay, so that x minus 4, 3x plus 2 would be my final answer.